Welcome back to the channel, guys. Wanted to talk about a really interesting one today when it comes to how your head moves in the golf swing, and obviously the concept that your head has to stay totally still when you swing, and sort of some of the factors that are really important when it comes to how much your head moves and how it moves. Okay, so when we're looking at head movement in the golf swing, so we can sort of look at it from a couple different ways. One, we can look at it from a lateral standpoint, so left and right. Okay, we can look at it from a down and up, and then we can also look at it from a rotation, right? So and bend standpoint. So is it going this way? Is it turning this way? Is it turning this way? Okay, so when I'll sort of go through each area at a time. So I'm going to go lateral first, so right and left first. Okay, so if you're a player that ends up moving your head too much off the ball in the backswing, some of the factors that are included in that, one is, are you able to sort of extend your upper spine? So how's your thoracic range? So for me to be able to stay centered, I need to be able to rotate, and my spine is going to be tilting a little bit and extending. I'm not trying to extend it, but it will be slightly extending for me to stay more centered. The other thing is, sometimes if you have a lot of sway, so for me, my right shoulder, right hip, or trail hip, trail shoulder, not turning behind you. Okay, so that would be me pushing this back and my right shoulder going behind my head. That also is going to help me stay centered. If my right hip shifts and my right shoulder shifts, I'm going to be too far off the ball. I can shift and then turn. That's fine too, but that will keep me pretty centered still. So that is obviously important from a backswing standpoint. From a downswing standpoint, if we look at sequencing, okay, usually if you see the head sort of dive forward, that's going to be an upper body dominant first move. What I'd like to see is the lower body start to go and then unwind the upper, right? So the lower body goes and then unwind the upper. That way I'm staying more centered with my spine. I'm not having my head dive forward. That again is my upper body beating my lower. If my lower body beats my upper, then I can unwind and stay in a bit more centered head position. Okay, so now from an up and down standpoint, it's going to be similar. A couple things that will blend, because everything obviously attaches to everything. So when I'm going back, if I get to a point where I have a tough time having that right hip and right shoulder go back, or my hips want to go under, you'll start to see the head move away from the golf ball. I also see it sometimes if you get to this point and the chest starts to push forward this way to try to find rotation, you'll start to see the head move forward. Okay, so when we're trying to do this drill, we're really focused on my nose staying around the same distance from the golf ball. There's a little bit of range in there, but not a ton. Okay, I don't want to see it moving a whole bunch back or a whole bunch down on the backswing. So I'm trying to go pretty centered, and then as we start to go down, we're going to be able to lower a little bit, right? That's through the knees and the hips. Okay, as I start to go back to my sort of setup position. So there's my setup, there's my top, back to my setup, and then from there I'm pushing with my legs, but trying to feel like my nose doesn't stand up away from the golf ball or dive down towards it. Okay, so again, trying to keep that relatively centered. The last one, from a rotation standpoint, and also as part of every part of what we just did, is how is your neck range when you're just standing? So to be able to keep my head relatively centered, this is from my buddies at the vault here, and how important the neck is in the golf swing. So if I rotate this way, I need to try to, for me to have a relatively calm head movement in the golf swing, my chin has to be close to the seam of my shirt when I turn towards the camera. Okay, so what that is, so if you're having a tough time staying in the shot and you're trying to keep your head down at impact, so if I can't get to there, okay, so then I add rotation. So this is my neck position not really changing. So there's my impact position. So me keeping my head pointed at the ball at impact. Okay, but if you're, say, a guy that only can get to here, then your impact position is going to have to look more like that if you want to get the rotation with the body. If you have a tough time doing that, you might, trying to keep your head in the same spot, you might try to compensate with body motion versus just letting your head rotate a little bit more naturally through the shot. So Same thing for backswing. So this would be my backswing. So I got to get it over to my left shoulder, right? So if I get it to my left shoulder and then I turn, that is my backswing without my neck really changing position. But again, if I'm here and I turn, I have to be able to, when you go back, lots of great players have done it, let the head start to rotate a little bit in the backswing. So, you know, that's a lot of information, but it's all relative to how the head moves in the golf swing, and how there's lots of different ways for it to move, and some are going to be beneficial and some are going to make it harder to make solid contact. But understanding what causes what and what suits you is the most important. So if you need any more help for your game, check out TimeWayGolf.com. Happy to directly help talk you through the steps for your game. With that, it's been really fun for me to be helping people online and sort of tailor each session towards what they specifically need. YouTube is amazing. It's great for information. Sometimes you need to sort of rile it in and make sure you're focused sort of on what matches you, because obviously there's lots of great information, and not all great information is great for everybody. Okay, so making sure you're getting great information for you is super important. So if you need any more help, I'm happy to help online or in person here in Orlando.